other friends? I mean, you were a lot of international students went to school here. It's a private school.
Yes.
So I'm assuming if they can get more international students, there's funding. So they've created, a nice opportunity for students internationally transitioning from their countries and into American economy.
I would say something that my dad was just telling me the other day, because my sister's coming to school here too. And it was like, America is a place of opportunities, but those opportunities come from capitalism. And what I mean by that is that, yes, I came to school here, but I had to have the means. So
that's true.
So you go back to, okay, how much money do you have to have allocated in the bank for you to even get approved for this visa? Like, people don't understand that there's a process to that. And that process is not insignificant. So not everyone can do it. So not everyone has that opportunity from other countries to come up here as an student. And I hear too often people be like, why can't you just do what you did? And I'm like, because I was blessed.
Yeah, you were privileged.
I was
to
privileged.
Have the opportunities
Exactly.
that you did. It's not like all
privileged.
These international students are just coming here, because it's the same as here. If you've got the money and the means, and you can do
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think people don't understand. To get a tourist visa, you need to be medium wealthy to be able to get it approved. And that depends on which country it's from. So Ecuador is 10 years, but India, you might have to wait months before you get approved, and then you only get like 3 months, So there's differences, and it has a lot to do with the political states of U.S. with those countries. But in Ecuador specifically, we used to have a 6 years tourist visa, and it's just changed to 10 years. But you have to prove, income, work, you have to have your tickets paid. If you're going to Disney, you better have all that paid and proof to get your visa approved. So there's a process behind it that requires money. So when you think about all these people immigrating here and crossing the border, or how people say, why can you do it? Why can't they do it like you? And I'm like, because they can't. They really can't.
So downgrading individuals who are coming here for survival.
Exactly.
For a better life. And it's like, do it like Antonella.
It's not that easy. If it was, it would, I feel like we wouldn't have the problem that we have, So it's a lack of understanding, and it's a lack of education on the subject, because people just talk what they hear and they have never experienced it. I mean, it takes months. You have to apply 9 months, like I think it's 3 months before. Then you have to have all your paperwork. I mean, it has to be notarized, bank accounts. I mean, it's.
I can't imagine the mountain of paperwork you must have had to fill out in just up until this age that you are, and probably just the last 10 years.
Yes.
The mountain of paperwork you have had to fill out.
Yes.
And I'm sure some of it was just ridiculous.
It was. I would never forget my permanent resident interview with my husband, Corey. And we're both sitting there. And our attorney is like, don't laugh, Antonella, when they ask you these questions. And I'm like, okay, what questions are they? So I'm just going to give you some random ones. But like, have you smuggled money into the U.S.?
So the attorney's prepping you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, they're going to ask me that. She's like, don't laugh, because I know you, Antonella. Don't laugh, because the interview is serious. And I'm like, okay, I won't laugh. So we finally get to the interview for my permanent resident card, because you first get 2 years after you get married. And that's conditional only. Then you file for 10. So once you file for 10.
Can you hear okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're fine. Once you file for 10 years, you have to go to an interview. Okay. Just to make sure that the marriage was in good faith. So me and Corey are there, we're ready. And you have to answer questions. And then they're like, have you ever been a prostitute? And I'm trying to keep my face straight. And I'm like,
they asked if you were a hooker?
Yes.
Oh.
Are you a terrorist? Have you been involved with ISIS? And I'm like, do you think someone would tell you this? First of all, ridiculous. Nobody's going to admit that they've done any of these things. But I thought it was kind of interesting. And people are like, well, that's good screening. And I'm like, nobody's going to tell them yes.
No. If you're a terrorist,
probably not going to tell them. But, just ridiculous questions. Like, have you smuggled money into the U.S., drugs? And I'm just like, no. And that's why my attorney prepped me, because she's like, I know Antonella, she's probably going to laugh. And I was like, no. And of course, just like holding my hand, just like, don't laugh, Antonella, don't laugh. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to say no to all the questions. And it was like 50 questions I had to reply no to. And I was like, no. But the one that was really
to get your permanent residence,
yes, okay, which is not my citizenship yet. Right. I can only apply to that after 3 years from my conditional one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that was that after you graduated college? So you met your husband, got married, and graduated college.
Yes, but as an international student, I did 1 year of OPT, which is optical practical training. That's when you have to work on your field. That's the only way you can work after college.
Okay. So criminal justice degree, and you worked where?
I work at Coleman and Pappas, and I was at the law firm.
Okay, so you worked at the law firm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then I finished that year, and then we got married, and I got my 2-year conditional resident card, and then I was able. That's when you interviewed me, and that's when I started working in recruitment and HR.